Good morning, Justin. How you doing, man? All right. Just getting set up here. All right. Have a look at it. Not sure if you saw in the chat. What's up, Jeff? How you doing, man? SPY gapped up. QQQ gapped up. US 10 years down currently. Am I not putting that in? PYRNF. Let me look on TOS. Give me a second. PYRNF. Okay. Let's say. I'm gonna pull it up on TOS for some reason. Let's see what I see. 1 hour. I like the setup. Currently conducting an EMA crossover, but it looks like it may have some slight pullback, losing momentum after hitting the oversold status. And that's just looking at it from the 1 hour. I can actually pull this over here so you can see it. Let me look at the news that they're pushing out. So they just got listed on the NASDAQ. That's good. But watch the NASDAQ and the movements in that market, or in that index, which is currently breaking out of a downward trend like the SPY was last week, or at the beginning of the week, and on Friday. It's the first thing that stands out to me in regards to where it's being listed. Good morning, Rich. How you doing? We'll get listed on. Okay. All right. Is it the NASDAQ, or it looks like the NASDAQ is where it's going to be listed, but it is getting listed today. Cool. Let me see if PYR Progenesis, is that the same company? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you for clearing that up with me. Let me move that. Pop back over here. So it's not showing any chart history, but what I would look for is, just looking at this chart here, is the 941s. If you were to hop into this right now, it's currently trading at 772. Not too much pre-market movement. Let me look at it on fundamentals. Of course, it's not going to show that there. Let me see if NF. I mean, it's doing pretty well though. Looks like, I'm just going over the charts real quick. Let me look at it on the 4 hour. Oh yeah, you got some nice setups here. Like I said though, watch out for that 984 level. Looks like it had some resistance there, but above that it was flat at 12 was the next level above that. So midline 948, see how it reacts. If you were to hop into this right now at 772 to 948, that's about, give or take, 170. So I'm trying to do the math real quick in my head and it's not working out. Let me pull my give me a second. So 948, 772, and then 12. So you're looking at anywhere from a 23 to 55% return profit margin, I guess you could say. Good morning, Antoine. How you doing, man? Glad to have you all here. Some of my troopers. We're about to hit 250 subscribers on the YouTube channel. Like I always say, I never expected to get above 100, so it's turning out well. But yeah, Justin, look at this to hit that 948. You're still getting a 23% swing if it does, which is about 3% above our minimum, top line minimum. But if you hold it a little bit longer, it could retest those $12 ranges. I don't have any type of fundamental information on it that TOS can provide me, so I'd actually have to dive a little bit deeper into the company itself and what it's doing, just on some standard DD. I do see that they're unveiling a strategy to become global on-site DROS processor, delivering zero landfill reduced carbon solution, reduces GHG emissions. So I'm interested in seeing what that is. They just signed a contract for U.S. Navy's 2-ship build for $11 million. Of course, I don't know what their market cap is, so let's see what else. They had a lot of good things come out in September. They just got listed on the TSE, Toronto Stock Exchange, back in November. Confirmation successful. Their 5,000 TPY Drossrite is what is Drossrite, I guess. System successfully passed factory acceptance test, so you can expect that to come out into market. Just looking at, they just signed another $1.1 million contract with U.S. Tunneling Company. I'm pretty interested in learning what this company does, what their focus is. I know they're focused on what we've already announced, but it seems like they're across the board with a lot of different things, so I'd be interested in learning what that's about. I will definitely do some more. I can't yet. No OTC stock for me. I got you. Cool. Got you. Let me do some DD on it. If anything, I'll do a review, like one of my in-depth reviews like I did for RMO. Looking at our coffee and stocks list just to see how everything performed. What we're going to see in these percentages is how everything performed yesterday. Of course, we can go in and see how it's picking up today. Rig currently up 18% at the top of the list. NL VVF has been at the top of the list for the past few days. Of course, it's a penny stock, so it's not hard to see large gains like that. So sometimes I kind of overlook that. OEG looks like it's trying to make a rebound, but this is on the 5-minute. Let me look on the 1. Yeah, so OEG looks like it's actually trying to prop up for a breakout. It is it's going to take a second before it does. It might have some slight pullback because the indicators are so high already. We're pretty high on the RSI. Looks like volume is slowing down a little bit. They did have a volume spike in yesterday's pre-market. Advanced plasma processing. Is that something else that they're into, or is that another company? But if I were to get into OEG, I'd want to get back above the 657 before I would feel comfortable with letting it just continue to run. And then ultimately, I know we had this blue line here, but I'm looking at the 750s beyond that point. And then what do we have? 7:30. I have about 30 minutes with you guys, then I'm gonna have to take my daughter to school. GME, of course, broke down a little bit, hit 250. Looks like it's trying to prop out. Okay, that's what they do. Gotcha. Cool. Like I said, I definitely much prefer to do my own DD on these stocks so I can find what they're doing myself. If you're interested in GameStop, watch out for it to drop another $50 to about the 198, which is a potential buy zone. It was recently resistance here on the 25th and broke out above that 198 after it retested those levels. But of course, we all know it blew out past those levels before. Those 331s are a concern though, as far as a top line of resistance. Now I'm gonna actually make that my top line because that's where it rejected from when all that kind of settled down from the stock. Of course. And so that'll be my top line. Or I guess it could be my midline because I don't have one above where we're currently at. So this is the support I'm looking for. And then what I'll do is, just to keep all this tidy and correct, I'll select these, group them up, and close them out so we can focus on the new line. Call that previous levels, and then hide it so we can just focus on the stock right there. Of course, we had this will be our top line at the 456, but what it needs to do is break above the 332. If you were to get into it, you're looking at $75 or so, $72 to be exact, or I'm doing that wrong, $82. If it breaks down to 198 and bounces off of that, you're looking at a 134 spread, which is almost like 100%. So, you know, I know a lot of people aren't big on GME though because of what's going on with it. No, go on RMO warrants. Yes, okay. I definitely want to review that some more. They expire on the 18th, I believe. I had to go back and find it again. RMO warrants. They were sitting at like $1 yesterday. It looks like they dropped out a little bit. But it looks like they could potentially swing pretty heavy. Back to the upside, they're very low, oversold on the RSI. That's a concern to me, Jeff, is whether or not there's sentiment in them, and if they're losing steam. But you said these expire on the 18th. If you'll clarify that for me, because I thought this had an expiration date of February 21st, 2026. So, highly interested in looking at FCell, looking into GTech today. Tesla gapped up with the rest of the markets, sitting at about 692 the last I checked before I left. I need to look at it again and see. But you can see that GTech swing coming into play. I wish GTech had some options there, because I'd definitely buy them. But as you can see, we're retesting that $700 level. It's not actually an identified level of support or anything to that degree, but it's something that I'm paying attention to just on my own. Sitting right above that 697. Let's see. And once you reply to that, Jeff, I'll go back to it, by the way. As long as it stays above 695, it gives you the right to buy the shares at $11.50 a share. Give me a few and I'll find the date. All right, cool. Because they're currently trading. I saw it on my list just a second ago. Where is it? They're currently trading at $11.70. So you're able to buy it 20 cents cheaper, is what you're saying. But ultimately, we want to see Tesla stay above 695, looking good on the daily for a reversal. But of course, we got to go in our lower time frames and find our confirmations that that's going to occur. 1 hour showing for a ramp back up. I said that yesterday in the chat. Look for it to swing today, and it did very well along with the rest of the markets as well. So 30-minute looking good. So I'm looking at EVs again, potentially option calls on a lot of them. One option that I didn't hop into was BLNK. I'm going to look at FCell again as it's under $17. I can catch that $17 swing. GTech, I don't believe they have options. So let's have a look. They don't. So if anything, I'd play this just as a stock equity share. Your mom was in there. And then we have AVGR, which was up 5%. A little swing on it, not much. Looks like I'm waiting for this to potentially retest 233. I need to do some DD on that to see if it's even worth $2.33, to be honest, to justify the move back up to the upside. But moving on to KOS. KOS looking for a proper swing above those EMAs. You can expect this to retest the 352, which will give you about 10% just on that swing alone. It's doing a head and shoulders pattern right now. Head and shoulders being this left shoulder, it gapped down a little bit, created the head, and came back down. Sorry, didn't mean to do that. But ultimately swinging back to the upside. Hopefully gets back above its longer term channel that it's been trading in. And then bouncing above that 352 for a decent breakout above those levels, finding support. As of right now, it's 20 cents cheaper. Now, if you look, you bought 500 warrants at $1 and it runs up to $13 again. That's bank all day, and you get the shares at $11.50 plus the cost of the warrants. How much do the warrants cost? If you can clarify that for me, Jeff. But definitely looking to see this retest 352. You could get a close to a 10% swing on it right now, and then that'll be your minimum line. Getting above that 352 and finding support above that would be great, to let this just run. Well, I want to go back to that first before I move on to the next one, because we need to identify how this stock has traded at these levels before. And it looks like it's been much higher than that. 352 is a very important level of resistance that if it can break through, you can see this pretty much break out and then potentially retest these 523s next. So definitely pay attention to that. 551 specifically. So hoping to get above that 352. If you buy in, you're buying below its support level, previous support level, but has played resistance. I think this will have the momentum to actually break above that and continue moving forward. I could honestly readjust this channel that we're trading in, and it'll probably identify a better trend for us. Give me a second to do so. Yeah, so you see how that kind of corrects itself. But this is why sometimes I typically don't do diagonal channels anyways, but trading very well in it. I want to see what that looks like on a lower time frame to see how the price is correlating with it. Bounced off of that support, and has since then, continued back to the upside. 1 hour looking pretty good. I'm going to check my momentum indicators just to confirm. Yeah, we're looking pretty swell. So EBIX actually jumped to $29. I'm not sure if J-Dub's in here with us, but he's been watching this for some time. Looks like it might have a slight pullback on the 1 hour though, so be careful hopping into it. I'm not sure if you did. It bounced above the 26.25, which is what we were watching for. It was a level of resistance. So I'm not sure if they announced some news that the litigation that was going on with the company was basically, proven to be BS, I guess you could say. I would like to see if that's what it was, because not only did that occur, but their accounting company left due to finding some funny numbers in their books. So I'm looking, I don't see anything. Receives NASDAQ non-compliance, says targeting compliance by April 2021. Interesting. I'm going to read into that a little bit later. Moving on though, GM popped up. I think when we first started watching this, it was sitting at around $51 a share. Currently at 57, with the markets rebounding. Finding that resistance, looking at resistance potentially around the 57.16. So let's see if we stay above it and continue moving higher. It's tried these price levels before, and then of course it was rejected throughout February. Going into March, it's rebounded with the rest of the markets. I like GM, as you guys know, on an EV standard or an EV basis, due to the fact that they're looking at releasing about 34 different EVs by I think like 2035. I need to check in on that date so I can get a timeline and do some deeper DD on it myself. But SDGR is one I added to the list. I also need to add the one, what was it, PYR? Yeah. They're getting listed today for you people that are just hopping in with this, but I'm going to keep up with that. So ARMO is at a key level of 1190. It needs to stay above it. It's currently trading at 1220. We need to find support above these levels, and that way we can continue pushing to retest those 1356s. I think if it does retest that, then it'll break out and start trading pretty heavily in this 1356 1917 price range. I know a lot of people in the group jumped into this. We saw some slight sideways churn as momentum slowed down a little bit due to Tesla slowing down and pulling back just a little bit. But as I said, Tesla gapped up, so this is yet another EV play we can watch. PRVB looking pretty swell. Same thing as it was with Romeo. Needs to get above this right here before we can continue moving forward, which is 5 cents below 12.49. It's tried to break out, but as you can see, it's been trading along that line this whole time. BLNK is one of the trades I was looking at getting into today on option calls, potentially $44 to $49 option calls, because I know that if Tesla is able to break out above 700, I think there's going to be an influx in buying volume into Tesla, pushing it higher. With the rest of the markets doing pretty well today, I expect it to follow. As you can see, our score for the day is a +7. I'm trying to zoom in on it. +7 overall. And I've been tracking it since 6:30. It's currently 7:42, so I'm going to track it again. Pre-market. It's held up pretty well from how well it performed yesterday. In comparison to about 8:30 market open, it's flat, basically. So looking at this to continue pushing higher, as we're seeing the Dow Jones up, S&P's up, Nasdaq's up heavy. It's at 316 on QQQ, and Russell following as well. International markets show health in the markets. It's weird that we released, and I'm showing you this so we know where the markets are going, but it's weird that the stimulus package information just gapped up the markets in pre-market versus actually in the trading session yesterday. And I actually had puts on the QQQ, which I was actually able to profit a little bit off of, and then I lost a little bit to my SPY puts because I wasn't seeing the price action that I expected. I was seeing a lot of rejections on the 391, 390 areas for the SPY, and ultimately around the 312 to 313 on the QQQ, and I sold it. I bought in on the QQQ puts early yesterday morning when we were still like at I think $13.25 or $13, and it fell to $13.11. Made an extra $100 on it. I'm not tripping. I had already won the day with my EV calls, as you guys know. Was up like 172, about $80 above my minimum, and then made that extra $100. So I was green in that regard. And basically, it's not about making thousands. It's I mean, it is if we can, but it's being more humble and taking, if you make $200 a day, and that's 20 days a month, you can make $200 a day. That's at least $4,000 a month, which is close to, if I'm doing my math right, yeah, which is close to like $48,000 a year. So you could live off of just making $200 a day. And it's not like I have a large amount of buying power in this small account. You guys have been following me with this, and I did this to prove that you can win even in a market pullback. So when the markets pick up, you can win even more, as long as you're using the same strategies, same discipline, and things of that nature. Ford's picking up. It was actually, I think, these 1193 levels. It hasn't traded above these levels in a while. I think it's like 2016 or something like that. But it's picking up, headed in this upward trend. Even with the markets pulling back a little bit, it was resilient and kept pushing forward. That's something to pay attention to. That's what you want to find in a market like this, where it's kind of wonky, sideways, and stuff like that. It looks like Rolls-Royce is trying to pick up itself. Of course, Rolls-Royce does engines. They're a very spread out company, to say the least, and it really surprises me that I think they're OTC stock because they're a foreign company, and they're mainly listed on another exchange. But it'd be nice to see them actually get listed on one of our exchanges, because some people can't trade OTC. That's why I say that. Palantir, looking good for EMA swing is what I called it. This EMA compression. This is on the 4 hour, of course. So on the 1 hour, give me 1 second. All right, but looking for Palantir to break up above that 25.58. It looks like it's precisely at those levels, and continue moving higher. Ultimately, even above $29, back into the $29 to $39 price ranges. If I were to do an option on this today, it looks like I could potentially buy. I don't know how comfortable I am with buying $4 out of the money call on this. I mean, I would make money on it regardless, but it looks like I'd make like $50 if I bought some April calls on this. And that's a monthly option. So you have weeklies and you have monthlies, which I can share this information with you real quick. We can have a look at it, have a quick gander. So looking at these, I can honestly buy the 180s, but I like the fact that I make $55 for every dollar it goes up if I bought 350s for the $30. Of course, $640 is not something I commonly spend on options. I'm not fond of risking that much money. There's not a lot of interest in these at all either, which is kind of weird to me. Oh, wait. That's why. Looking at the wrong ticker, guys. Sorry. Let's see, PLTR. Yeah. All right. So a lot different here. But still, looking at the. Oh, okay. So that's much better. I can buy some in the money calls now, and make about $60 for every dollar it goes up moving forward, and I have about 36 days for that to go. In comparison, I make $60 for every dollar it goes up, and I lose $3 for every day that I wait. So if I were to buy this in the money call going into today, I'd feel very comfortable with waiting. Palantir's a software tech company. Tech's starting to rotate back into the market. We're starting to see the 10-year come down, which inflation rates started to show. What am I looking for? I can't even think of the word right now. I need another cup of coffee. But basically, the rotation out of tech into like finance and stuff like that. But we're starting to see the reversal of that with tech coming back. As you can see, there's 22,000 of these contracts owned, so it's very easy. The reason that I pay attention to that specifically is for the simple fact that I know it will be easy for me to buy into this as well as sell it when I'm ready to get out. And so I'll be looking into that going into today for some $25 options. Ultimately, looking forward to go back to at least $30 and then finding support above that. If it finds support above that, I'll be deep in the money about $4, and then that'll be about $240 I've made off of it, and I can let this just sit. Now, if it goes all the way back to $39, I'm looking at a $14 spread times 60, which off the top of my head is $840 or something like that, if I'm doing that right. Plus, you got to include the gamma that comes along with it, which is all right. So if I buy into it now and it goes to, let's say, it's probably going to open at $26. So if it goes to $27, I'll make that initial $60 off of this call. And then there's a gamma that says, okay, after that dollar jump, it's the delta that I make per dollar, it goes up a little bit more. And I'm really going in depth on that a little bit more, so you guys can, you practice what you preach, and you perfect what you practice. So I'm gonna keep repeating some of these things time after time as we're going through them, so it can kind of resonate for you a little bit better. And also you can see this live. That's why I'm not pushing any option alerts through my system, because I want to make sure people are very aware of what we're doing. So what this says is, let me get my daughter real quick. She's coming. But what this says is, all right, so for the first dollar this jumps, which is to $27, I'll make $60. Well, if it jumps to $28, I'll make $66. And then I can at least expect that to happen for the next $3 as this picks up. So basically, I would make $72 to $29, $78 to $30. So you see where this kind of compiles, and that's what gamma is. And then this also shows me with my delta, I lose $3 every day. Well, tomorrow I might lose $6 because that's what the Vega is showing me. And then the next day I might lose 9. So they correlate. It's a time decay compared to the intrinsic value. So that being whether you're in the money or out of the money, intrinsic value, and being in the money or out of the money is determined by the underlying stock, which is the actual stock price. So I'll be looking at making those calls today. I'm actually going to go ahead and try to go ahead and put a limit on it because it's gapped up already. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to capture it at this level, but at least it'll be in my trades and I can readjust it when the market's open. But moving forward, though, not to spend too much time on it, APG next finally broke above $19, I believe, is the level we've been paying attention to on this. Yeah, right, 1917. Said it was going to have some strong resistance there based on previous historical charts and stuff like that. So finally breaking above, still sticking strong to that longer term channel that it's in at the top of it. Watch for some slight pullback, but it doesn't look like it's doing that too much or too deep into that channel. And you could almost like clone this and do what they call a pitchfork, and that would put this about right here. You wanna when you do trend lines, you want to try to align it where the stock price hits the trend the most, and that's about right there. So we have what this says is we have a higher top of the trend channel within this longer term channel than we do lower. So you can expect this not to break below $18 as you ride it, and if it does, then that's something to be concerned about. Something I'm surprised about is Unity is currently was currently under $100, and as you can see, this is a $170 stock, and it went down over the course of 30 days from the markets rotating slowly, beginning to slowly rotate out of tech in the beginning of February, and with the U.S. 10-year being a concern and stuff. I think you're buying this super cheap. It's a great company. And I feel like I want to do a very in-depth DD video on it just to justify why I said that. But next one is going to be MGA. Give me one sec. What? Do what? All right. MGA broke above that 87.40, sitting at 90.80, and the markets gap up. We all should be seeing some greens going into the day, with the markets gapping up the way they have. Let me turn some TV on for you, girl. You want some TV? Yeah. You want some TV? But looks like it could potentially pull back. Sorry. Moving on to Bitcoin. Bitcoin hit 57 yesterday. Found some slight resistance before pulling back, and then showing some signs of continue moving forward to retest those levels. I would definitely watch this in lieu of any crypto plays that you're in. If Bitcoin has issues getting above 57, we could see some strong rejections and pullback. Now, even if it bounces above 57, it could create what you call a head and shoulders, where it kind of arches above that level of resistance and comes back down and dips. I'm not saying it's going to dip as far as it did, but it could dip to one of these support levels, hopefully around the 49, and then take off again. I love you, baby. Have a good day, okay? But in regards to crypto plays, look at MARARIOT. I know DPW is one that's really been hyped in our group, and I actually have a list we can look at. If you guys are interested, just let me know. Get something running for my daughter real quick. And then next one is Pfizer. A lot of people were trying to figure out why Pfizer was pulling back, even with their COVID-19 plays coming in. That's not the only thing Pfizer does, and this is a perfect example of not following, the current economic movements to a T, because companies are much more diversified in their portfolios of what they provide, and that could be the answer here. I'm not saying that is, but it's something to look into. Yeah, they may be doing these COVID-19 pushes, but how's the rest of their business doing? I would ultimately try to figure out why it's been in this downtrend, but it looks like it's finally reversing. It broke through that 34.56 level. I actually thought this was going like to $31, but it landed at these levels and reversing and pulling back up. You can at least see it go back to the $37 range, but that's less than 10%, so it's not something I preferably would jump in unless you're looking for a growth type stock. And Pfizer's not that bad, as far as I know, unless there's something that I'm not aware of. VALE apparently has something to do with Tesla. I haven't looked into it. I know I said I was going to, but I haven't. And it's currently trading sideways. It broke out, I believe, not too long ago, or was setting up to break out or something like that. It jumped off the 16 and bounced back up to the 18, but it's been trading sideways for the most part. Ever since the beginning of February, it had this strong dip. And anything above 1823, I would watch for the 1931 levels. So let me add that in there. That's our top line resistance. Plug. And then I'm going to come to the end of this list, and then we'll start looking at some potential stocks that are hitting my scanner and finding some potential entries in that regard. I've been doing a manual scan on my scan, looking for unusual volume too as well, and kind of focusing on them, looking for volume spikes and stuff for that matter. But plug bounced up to 44.65 after pretty much riding along that 41.79 level. You can expect this to jump $5 as it rebounds, as long as the tech sector continues to push forward with the rest of the markets. But that's one thing I want to keep everything in mind, keep everyone to keep in mind, is that I don't know if you can necessarily expect these stocks to run the way they were before this tech rotation began. Because I think a lot more people are a little more concerned that these things even pulled back, because everybody had the notion that stocks only go up, right? And I think that's going to have some concern that we're not going to necessarily see these stocks just run the way they were running. And even if, what you want to call your retail investor may not look at it that way, I feel like institutional players are. And a perfect example of that is Tesla. Tesla hit $540. You would expect the horde to come in and just blow that thing out the roof. And the fact that it's just been pressured down has been crazy to me. And I've been trying to justify why. I still haven't found it. They have so much good news all the time. They're always doing great things, regardless of what people think about it or whatnot. But me and Dylan from Discord were talking about that, about how much great news they have, but yet there's such pressure. Of course, the 10-year had a lot to do with that, and interest rates rising and stuff like that, which lower interest rates allowed for a lot of things to run, because people could access more liquidity a lot easier, as far as like business loans to do bigger things and stuff like that. But anyways, move forward. I'm not sure if Steven's here, but I'm going to go ahead and look at DPW. I'll look at a few more of these on the bottom, then we'll catch up to see where the markets are. So DPW did break out to $4 the other day, and then it bounced back, but it found that support we needed above the 356, which is ultimately a launch pad in my opinion. So I would be interested in looking at maybe some in the money calls around this, looking into April or June, depending on what their contracts are like, of course, to hold this longer term, let it do its thing. But at the same time, I'll be watching Bitcoin to make sure that it's not going to get rejected. Yeah, so it has April or June calls, and I can honestly buy. I could buy these $1 and $120 contracts, and just let this thing run. I'm making $76 to it, and losing $1 a day. So it's a $75 trade-off, basically. It does have low interest, which is weird to me. A lot of people probably bought into this around $4 out of the money, because it was a little bit cheaper, and they're still making $58 to $1 loss ratio in theta. But I'm more interested in that either the 120 or maybe the 185, and just letting this thing do its thing, man. If I get the 185s, pay $65 extra, I get $1 for every dollar it goes up. But I'm satisfied with making $75 for every dollar it goes up, and I ultimately think it's going to. It's a strong, and it's a holdings company, so they don't actually manufacture anything. They just acquire a lot of smaller businesses, and the fact that their stock price has been so volatile, it's pretty easy to see this going back to 454 easy, breaking above that, and then trading back to that 638 level, which on its initial run it needed to find support, and it didn't. It bounced up a few times, even went to $8, but ultimately came back down. And just to be realistic, like, it needs to get back above this 454 to have that type of platform. But I could buy into this now while it's cheap, all the way into, hell, even June for that matter. June's cheaper. I could buy it for 160 and have a 71 to $1 trade off, and have more time for it to actually run, about 100 days. I can just sit that money to the side and just let it do its thing. So really interested in doing that. I'm going to go ahead and put that order in. Hopefully they fill my limit. I'm not sure if it's going to or not, but I could reset it once the market opens. I'm just setting these up so I have them ready for when I'm ready to go, and it also tells me how much option buying power I have left to play with. CCIV, super cheap to get into right now. Definitely below that 2749 support level that we were hoping to find. It was a previous level of resistance, played support a few times, but ultimately broke down a little bit more, and currently rounding off from that $62 run. Now, I'm not saying it's going back to $62, but I'm at least looking for the 41, which is about a $15 spread for me. So if I were to look at any options at this point on it, if I were to look at any options, I would be looking into I could get some May calls. I could get some April calls for about $400 in the money right now, and that's above that's $25. So if I were to buy this $400 one, I'd make $62 for a $4 trade off. So I'm still making $58 a day, which is anything above $50 a dollar. Excuse me, not $50 a day. $50 a dollar it goes up. Anything above that I'm comfortable with, and as long as it has a lot of open interest, I'm also interested in that as well. So I could buy out of the money calls, but I just like the safer bet of staying in the money. Now Tesla can pull back and I could start losing money because it's coming down, but so just as much as I can make $62 per dollar that the stock goes up from the time I buy it, I could also lose $62 for every dollar it goes down. That's something to also keep in mind. And it only grows either way. So after that next dollar, I would make 66, and the trade-off it'll adjust. But I'm gonna go ahead and put that in my order book. That's 3 option plays for the day. Leaves me with the potential to do 2 more, and I could potentially do that on the SPY and the QQQ, but after yesterday, I think I'm going to pull back on playing the overall markets and just focus on some of these smaller plays that I can better identify, such as, like, Nicola's looking good. Oh yeah, BLNK was one I was going to look at, that I'm highly interested in, and I could look at some. Those April calls are a little expensive, so I would probably have to go with some out of the money calls. Let's see, what do we have? I like the monthly, so you can see these are weeklies. There's a difference, and we'll go into detail on that a little bit more, but later, like in our tutorial videos we're picking up. But I could do maybe just Dylan. I mean, honestly, I could buy this. That'd be my last trade of the day. I'd have like $100 left if I bought this. I think, let me see, I'd have like $84 left, so I'm not highly interested in it. But I could, have a trade-off of paying less than, $110 less. That'll give me another option play to go into the portfolio for the day. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Cancel that order and buy this one. Where did I say I was going to go? Right here. Yeah. Which a lot more open interest is in there, and I have 36 days for it to move to that price point too. So some volatility won't hurt me too much. Of course, I do have stop losses on this and limits that I'm not willing to go past to secure my funding. But do that there. All right. So I have 4 option plays that I'm going into all kind of different. PLTR, DPW, CCIV. I'm not even sure if I'm going to play CCIV, but BLNK. I'm just putting it on the list. And then let's see what the SPY is doing. Let's get an update on that. It's 8:07 now. SPY is still gapped up. It hopped up to 392 at its peak. I think this is going to run at all-time highs. I might do some call options on it, but I want to look a little bit more into what everything is showing me. And this is ultimately another reason why I did puts on the SPY yesterday, is for the simple fact that all of the indicators are so high. We're so high that there's a lot of bottom to it. But on the daily, as you can see, we're ramping up. So I expect this to at least retest the all-time highs. I could definitely do some calls on it. Shorter time frames, of course, maybe 7 days out, 14 days out if I wanted to. I see the monthlies are available, but they're going to be a little more expensive. I honestly could buy, let me see, let me pick it up. Let me pull it up for us so we can see. Anybody got any questions while I'm doing all this? Monthlies 8 days out. I think they're going to be a little more expensive for me to get anything in the money right now. Just a little bit above what I like. But I can honestly buy like the 193s. But I'd want to get into this 275 level. And although another thing to justify the move up is that people are going to see these markets and they're automatically going to think in themselves, in their head, okay, we're retesting all-time highs now. So we've broken out of that midterm channel. So that's what I think is ultimately going to push this up, continue pushing it up. It's just completed an EMA confirmation crossover. I'm going to go ahead and pull that midterm downward trend that we were in. I'm going to pull it out and we're going to readjust now. We're still sticking to our long-term trend. We're at the top of that channel too as well. That's another thing I was paying attention to, the fact that we are at the top of that channel, which in itself is a concern because we could bounce off the top of that and come down, and I could lose on my call options. I could lose on all of them, honestly. But stimulus package just came out. Biden's going to sign it on Friday. U.S. 10-year, I think, is back down, so interest rates aren't that much of a concern. The Vix is slowly going down. I think it's trading at like 222. This is compressing. It could continue pulling down. This is the 10-year Treasury yield, but it's showing potential for a bounce up. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to necessarily weigh on the markets as much as it did before due to the CPI numbers that came out. Of course, we have JOLTS report coming out today, and we have job which is also job loss claims coming out today. So that's something to pay attention to. Before I buy my calls, I'm going to wait till I get that information because that'll really, on the spot that is, I'm going to wait for that information to come out. I'm really reluctant to trade off putting $400 on CCIV right now and using that money elsewhere. I really want to buy some Romeo calls again if Tesla's going to keep performing the way it is. I sold all of my EV stocks yesterday morning because I saw Tesla pulling back, and I'm glad I did. I sold them at the peak of where they could be at, and ultimately it was perfect timing. So Romeo showing potential for pulling back though, so that's kind of concerning. Unless we find that support above the 1190, this can continue to run. Turn some TV on for the baby girl. There you go. But I think we're gonna keep support above 1190. Let me see where Tesla is. Still retesting those $700 levels. Looks like it's propping up on the 1 hour though to do so. Could see some slight pullback at market open. It's now at 811, so waiting to see that come into play. 30-minute looks like we're going to break up above that level. So if Tesla breaks below the 695, I'm immediately getting out of my there's those public warrants you were talking about, Jeff. I'm going to read into it a little bit more. Anyways, but if we see some pullback in it and it goes below 695, I'm probably gonna go ahead and get out of my option calls for my EV plays, because I really need. Of course, we are buying these a month or to up to 2 months out, so I have more than enough time to let all the volatility in the world pull these up and down until they actually hit my strike points. The only thing about that is the time decay, the theta that comes into play, where you start losing money in that regard. So, definitely something I'm watching is Tesla, with 2 of my calls for the day being 2 EVs. And what I might do is kind of diversify this. I might only go after 1 EV. I might not go after them at all. But I mean, I feel like I can really bank on that. One thing that I saw too was SPCE was like at $31, which is nuts, because it was just trading at $40, $51 so not too long ago, and it's in this compression zone, this diamond compression zone. And I think it's going to bounce down a little bit more and then bounce out. That's only if the markets don't break out themselves, but it's definitely propping up. I think the SPC calls are just ridiculous to try to buy though, unless I buy something far out of the money, and then the further you go in time, the more expensive it's going to become in itself. So it's almost like doing a trade-off for I'm thinking about doing a trade-off for these EV plays for my SPCE calls now. And I'm looking for something in the money. This is what I'm looking at right now, just so I can show you guys at the same time. I can buy some March calls and make $54 for every dollar it jumps, but I'm looking longer term into the April monthlies. A lot of open interest on the 35. I could honestly trade off maybe my CCIV, and focus a little bit more on SPCE. I could spend that same $400 on this, and make $65 a dollar it goes up, and it's already deep in the money. It's not going below. I mean, it's went below, but that was due to the markets pulling back overall. But I don't see it coming back down to the 25s whatsoever, and I'm looking for it to stay above 30. So buying in the money calls at 30 would make me feel comfortable to pay that type of price for it. Currently $32 right now. So definitely something I'm gonna watch. Now, I don't know necessarily how well I feel about keeping these options just sitting here until market opens, because all this could take a crap on me, and I could be upside down buying into things that I could get cheaper. But I'm just putting them on my list so I can pay attention to them. Actually going to do some notes on it on the side. Are there any stocks you guys are wanting to look at? I see some of the people kind of hopped out on this. Not too many in here. APHA. I think this is a Furia. Yeah. I'm trying to remember when they were doing the merger with TLRY. I mean, they're looking like they're trying to bounce pretty heavy on the 1 hour. Doesn't look bad. I'm just kind of honestly pulling back from these wheat stocks right now. And it's too much hype in them, and so people are getting caught into them, caught up in them. I'm not saying they're not going to perform. I actually did some DD over the weekend. I was doing DD on SNDL to justify being into it any more than I already am. And basically CGC and APHA actually perform better than most of the top 5 stocks that are Canadian stocks, Canadian weed manufacturers. So I would definitely look at CGC. Canopy Growth, they're doing well. They're diversifying their portfolio very well. They're not only doing just weed that you can smoke, but they're doing drinks, edibles, and they're taking over the entire eastern market share of Canada. Their focus, what I would pay attention to if you get into this company, is the U.S. markets. Same for all the rest of the Canadian companies as well. And then the other one being, what did I say? APHA. So I like APHA, but I would want to figure out what is going on with that merger. So I'm looking. I'm looking into some news on when this merger is expected to occur. Second half of this year, so it's not even going to be for a while apparently, based on what they're saying. But nice prop up on it. Ultimately, I'll give it that. Let me pull some of these indicators out and let's focus on just the stock chart. I do our identifications. I identified the long-term trend. Ultimately, if you got into this, you would hope for it to get back above that long term, but since it currently isn't trading there, I'm just going to focus on where it's at. As always, being realistic about it. Support level being 1750. If you were to buy into this right now, Reg, make sure it doesn't drop below that. Of course, I do 5% stop losses, which 5% would be about 90 cents. So right about that, actually, to be correct. Let's see what we have here. Rejection there to this rejection here. So it looks like it's in a compression zone to bounce off of this support level back to the upside. Looks like it traded a little bit higher in after hours yesterday, but pulled back since then about 9 cents. Not much though. So, and just to look at some option plays on it, just if you were interested in doing any options, what I would target in doing that would be the fact that it found some resistance here and trying to rebound. So you could honestly do some, you can do in the money calls, but it's cheaper to buy out of the money calls. In the money would be 280. Let's see, I was looking into April. I always look into the next month at least. So anyways, you can pay 280 for in the money calls, currently trading at $18. Don't expect it going back below that level or too far below it, so you can deal with it. If it does just a little bit, just make sure if it goes below 1750, you get out of the option altogether. But it's currently up $1, so you would lose $59 on the trade if you waited that long, plus whatever time decay it took to get to that point. And then, or you could buy the $20, and that will still get you about $50 for every dollar it goes up. But I'm ultimately looking at resistance at 2240, so I'm only seeing a $4 range on this, meaning the max profit that I could expect to get out of it, if it does find resistance at those levels, is 54, or depending on if I bought it here, that'd be 60 times 4, 240. If I bought this one, then that would only be 200. So you're looking at $240 on the trade, regardless of where you get it. And I would focus on at least minimum buying this $20 option for that, for the sake of that, because it's doubling up what you would make back, or what you put in, is what I'm trying to say. 10 minutes from market open. Let's see what the markets are doing. Still up pretty heavy. Not seeing any pullbacks in the U.S. equities, which is good. The SPY is still strong and moving higher. I'm gonna go ahead and track it. When's the last time I tracked this? 742. I'll track it right at market open just so we can know where it's going. As far as since yesterday, it's still up from the same time frame 24 hours ago. It's up about 1% on both. Something's wrong about this, actually. I mean, it's exactly the same. I need to check into my programming on this, why it's exactly the same. Alright, so disregard yesterday's performance because we need to focus on today regardless. This is all that matters. The Vix is pulling down. I saw the Vix was down, and this is based on volatility and investor sentiment as a tool to use. It's not necessarily saying that the market's going to go up just because it's going down. But it's been trading above $20 for the longest time, and anytime it hits $20, it's when we see all-time highs. So if you see this drop another $2, which is about 10% over the next few days, which is something I'm tracking, then we should be at all-time highs again at that point. What's up, Pascal? How you doing? What's up, Justin? How you doing? Looking for entry into NXTD. I'm not sure who's still here with us. I think it's probably Reg, Justin, and Pascal at this point. NXTD. If you were to get into this, I would look for how it reacts to that 211 Reason I say that is because of how it's reacted to it before. 3 times before it was actually 4 times before it actually broke out, and it even got some slight rejection before really breaking out. So up to 5 times and testing those levels for some reason. But ultimately found resistance around the 334. I don't know why I have it even listed there. Actually, the rejection is right here at 360. I wonder why I did it like that. It's probably on the lower time frames for some reason. But anyways, back to my point. Like the company, the trend is looking good on the rebound from the downside that we've seen from the markets overall. Looks like it's trying to break below it just a little bit, so watch that. Wait, is it? It's riding right along it. Sorry. Let me actually correct this a little bit. It's right there. Yeah. So see this riding back to 211, but watch it ultimately hitting those resistance levels before we move forward. Well, all we got in here this morning, by the way, the market's open in 7 minutes or so. I've went over some option plays. We did talk about the warrants that's in the chat. Justin, I'm not going over it myself because I want to get more information on it before I try to suggest anything regarding it. But I was able to find some news on it. If you want an update on it, on February 16, 2021, the company announced it would redeem all the outstanding public warrants to purchase shares of its common stock at 0.0001 penny per par value per share that were issued under the warrant agreement dated February 7, 2019. Let's see. I'm just trying to see what stands out. Warrants that were issued under the warrant agreement in a private placement and are still held by the initial holders thereof. Their permitted transferees are not subject to redemption. All such public warrants may be exercised by the holders thereof until 5 p.m. New York City time on April 5th to purchase fully paid and non-accessible shares of common stock underlying such warrants at the exercise price of $11.50. Any such public warrants that remain unexercised following that date will be void and no longer exercisable, and the holders of those public warrants will be entitled to receive only the redemption price of $1 per warrant, or 1 penny per warrant. Yeah, so the little bit of DD I did on these warrants, man, was, what's up, Dorito Dorm? Glad to see you here with us again. Justin's, Reg, Pascal, and Jeff, I'm not sure if you're still here. Antoine, I'm not sure if you're still here, but thank you all for being here. But I heard that warrants are very risky because they can pull them at any time, apparently. Of course, I'm sure they have to announce it to some degree, but I don't get into anything I don't know or fully understand, just to lower my risk. I'm very big on risk management with what I'm doing. What, the boy? What you talking about? So definitely something to watch out for. Give me just a second, guys. I'm gonna get her situated before the market's open. I'm gonna see where the stocks are that I have options on. We'll go over those in a second. What? So back at it. Come here, little pud. Say hey. Say good morning. Say good morning. Hey. Say hi. My little pudding. What? You want it? Alright, so what we got? Damn. This whole downturn. I'm wondering if she did the same thing yesterday, but it's been red for weeks. Up $1 in pre-market, huh? I think we've been watching OGI. It is. But it's pulling back, so should be able to hop in there at a decent price. I mean, technically you're only up. Whoa, where are we going? About 50 cents off of that support level. 50 to 60. Wait, am I doing that right? 70 cents. Give me just a second. Right. Alright, so just to let everyone know something real quick. If you are interested in, I'm not trying to promote this, but if anyone registers for our premium memberships and you use a different email for your account and then another email for your PayPal subscription and you cancel it, my system's not built to recognize that. It's impossible to do it. So, you know, just keep that out there. The mobile app is on the App Store, but I got to make some design changes on the Android. I built it on an iPhone simulator, so I had to do some design changes, which is actually on the Apple Store. Not Apple Store, Google Store, the Play Store. They approved it, I think, Monday or Tuesday. Didn't even tell me. I had to go look myself, but just glad that it's there. Anyways, moving forward, I want to look at something specifically about AMC. AMC broke out after hours, above the 1108, right? And it bounced off of that. And it looked like it was finding some support, but then it ran into some issues right up here. And as soon as it did, it got heavily rejected and pulled back below those 1108 levels. So if you're in AMC or watching that, you need to get above 1108 to confirm any move to the upside moving forward. Just FYI. Definitely something to pay attention to. I'm ready for the market just opened, so let's see if I was able to. The only one that went through was my DPW call so far. Looks like my Palantir calls are at 286. So I'm gonna look at those real quick. Gapped up a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and buy them before they get too high. Oh, they're actually 340 now. Oof. All right, so this is why we reevaluate, because this could come back down now, mind you. But it would take it coming down to like 2480 before I could get into it, and it's currently trying to break out. So I want to catch it before it does. Puddin', where you going? Where you going, bro? So I could probably capture this about potentially $3. You can't get the mic, baby. I'm sorry. I need the mic. Or I could just go ahead and buy these $26 calls. But I'd much prefer getting these other ones that I have. So let's see. I'm paying about $60 more than, to be exact, $55 more than what I would want to. And this could honestly pull back on me right now, so I could probably buy it and leave my limit order in there and buy it where I want to. Let me see what the 10 minutes showing me. Yeah, we have a slight run on it, so it could come down actually on me. It's pretty high on the chart there, so let's see where we're at. Is that right? Huh? Is that right? So I'm gonna track it I had some potential calls on CCIV. Yeah, you want the microphone? It looks like it's gonna pull back a little bit. I wonder what the SPY's doing. Are the rest of the markets pulling back? SPY picking up a little bit more on open. Tesla still trying to break through 700. QQQ. It gapped up pretty well at 316, but I'm wondering if it's gonna pull back at all either. Where you going? Yeah? You want the wallet? You want my wallet? Go make some money. Go be a winner. Make you peppy. But moving forward though, back to my PLTR, I'm really gonna watch this closely because I don't want to catch myself in the trap of buying this too high. It's currently still at 335 on that option call that I was going after. But I want to identify something too. This gapped up to the same level yesterday and ultimately was rejected before getting pulled back down. So I could probably, basically, it's what I call a fishnet, catch it on the fall. If it even does that. Now, I would need it to break below 25.59 to do that. But I'm just going to be a little patient. I'm not going to, I could pay more for it, but at the same time, I'll be patient and just let the system catch it for me. Some other things I was looking at was CCIV. I want to see what it's doing. Like I said, it looks like it's rounding off as well. Let's see. Replace order. I had it set up to pay for this for $4. I don't know how good I feel about doing that. Now that I keep looking at that $400 number, I could definitely spread that out across some other things. What's the 1 hour showing me? It's ultimately what all that matters. Currently trading at 450. It's only up $50. I'm gonna pull out of that one. I don't wanna. I want to see what happens with it first. And BLNK is my next one that I was going after. $38. Ugh. Yeah, that option I went after, it jumped an entire $1 and 17 cents or $117 in cost to hop into that one, and that was $40 calls. That's out of the money calls. It's not even in the money yet, and it's already jumping that high. So sometimes you can see the value in buying options at the end of the day and looking for those morning gap ups. But it looks like there's some bids on 520 for it. Doesn't look like this is pulling back at all. I don't expect it to, but just a little bit, probably down to that $36 level. That takes the whole market. It's gonna take the whole market pulling back on me. So, what else was it that I was gonna buy some options on? Bingo was another one I was thinking about looking at some options for. It looks like it's gonna pull back. Yeah, you dancing? You dance? So we're looking at PLTR. Let me see how far it's pulled back. And yeah. So it looks like we could be propping up with PLTR. Looks like I'm just gonna have to deal with paying a higher price point on it. What are you guys looking at into today? Any trades you wanting to look at specifically that you're interested in getting in? I know we were looking at OEG. I think Reg was looking at OGI. I'm sorry. Let's sit right here, baby. See where the SPY is at while I'm waiting for you guys to respond. Oh yeah, a new update too. With the platform, I am building a trade review request system so that you can anybody, free or premium, it doesn't matter. It's going to be a free tool where you can simply suggest a trade or request for a trade to be reviewed that you're interested in that we might not be talking about. So keep an eye out for that. If you haven't already registered at least your free membership, feel free to do that in order to utilize that, and we can keep track of those things. I can track basically what my predictions are on them, and basically it's going to ultimately help me become better at providing you with better information. That's the goal behind it. Not only just tracking what we're looking at, but tracking how well these things meet our expectations, to only build off of that. PLTR down to 330. My BL and K calls. Oh yeah, FCell. What's FCell doing? I like FCell. It pulled back a little bit for me. Thank you. But I think I'm going to hop into FCell in exchange for the CCIV calls I was going to make, which I could hop in. Do y'all see this going below 16? It's the beta. It's the beta. 36 days out, looking at $1 loss, a $4 loss every day. So this is what I'm looking at, so I can share with you guys. Looking at these either 300s or 340 calls. Well, $16 strikes, but you know, this is what they cost. That'll leave me with like $295 or something like that. $275 on another option. Let's see if I can get my bid filled for less than the asks. Or basically, is what I'm going after. This does look like it's pulling down just a little bit. They might come down and sell it to me. It's already up. It came down on the bid, but it's up on the ask. So somebody's trying to sell. And I could pay another $15 on it, and looks like I'm in. Alright, so they bought it. Or they sold it to me. I bought it for... Let's see, how much did I pay for that? It actually charged me $340 for it. Wow. Okay. And as soon as I buy it, it comes down. I'm wondering if Tesla pulled back. It did. So I'm down $20 on that option call immediately. Wonderful. PLTR still sitting at 340. But of course I'm buying these so far out that I have time. So 345 already. Alright, just bought my PLTR call options for 345. Don't see it going below those prices. It's currently below $26, so I was able to at least capture it below those price points. So I should start seeing some returns immediately on that. I have about 197 left to play with this small account, and I still have my BL and K options that I'm trying to buy for $425, but they're currently already $600. So I'm gonna hop out of that and look for something else in that regard. So I have about $623 to play with. Let's go looking. Let's go looking. You want to go looking? Huh? Yeah. You can always eat this. You can have your food. But see, BL and K is at the top of our list. OGI is up. I don't know if OGI has any options, but it's a little too high for me to even get into right now. RMO, I can hop into those. That's a 1255. Hey, girl. Hey, girl. What's going on? Buy me some RMO options. Keep gathering my profits on it. Where are we going? Is that right? Girl. You can't be swinging like that, girl. You can't be swinging like that, girl. Don't hurt yourself, girl. Yeah. Huh. So this is what I'm looking at getting. What? You sleepy and hungry? I'm looking at getting these $2 ones right here. But I'm gonna wait. Oh, no, not. It's just taking off. Where you going, girl? Currently down $23 for the day. Up on my PLTR calls. Let's see. What else can I play with today? Justin, I'm not sure if you're here, but it looks like your Pyrogenesis is now actively trading. Girl, we're okay. Looks like I might have to cut today short. What? What that? What that, girl? What that? What that? You got it? You got the money? You got the money? What's that? You don't want it, you just want to play with it, huh? So in regards to the spot today, I will be looking at these, I will be watching for potential rejections around that 392.48. And I might use, I still have like $440 or $22 left I might use on some pullback puts, basically. Intraday puts, basically. Currently winning on my RMO, down a little bit on my DPW. Of course, I bought my FSL a little cheap, or a little more expensive than what I actually bid for it. But ultimately, it looks like I'm going to have to hop off of here. VXRT. Alright. What, do you want to play? Now, I'm going to tell you now. I see you put VXRT on here. I don't like VXRT. Alright, guys. Looks like I'm going to have to hop off of here because the baby girl's not too happy this morning. So, that's what I'm looking at right now. Is what the spa's going to do. You sleepy still or something? Yeah. And also the QQQ, because it gapped up pretty heavy today. I don't know if it's going to have any pullback in it. It looks like it may. Yeah, I keep coming back to it. A lot of people have a lot of sentiment into the stock, so I actually traded it before, twice. They've broken out 100, 200%, and then immediately just sold off type situations. So, not very fond of them. My FSL calls picked up. I'm no longer in negative $20 on it. I'm only down $3 for the day so far on my 4 option spread that I have. What? Alright, currently. What, Puddin'? Alright guys, I'm gonna go ahead and hop over here for now, because she's getting a little happy. But I'll get back with you guys later.